Hello everyone. We're live and I've got the new Pioneer CDJ-3000s here for you to have a little look at, which is pretty cool. So today is all about 5 things that I think you need to know. In fact, we increased it to 7 things that we think you need to know about these. There's just so much about these that people are talking about that we wanted to share with you. We've spent the last few days playing with them. There's stuff people wanted on them, stuff people wanted that's not on them, and stuff that people weren't expecting. And that's what today's about then, helping you to understand the new Pioneer CDJ-3000s. Because you might play on them in a club, you probably won't buy them, but you might play on them in a club, and you want to know what these are all about. And also, some of this technology is going to trickle down and it's going to be coming on other gear. We'll talk about that in a bit. Before we actually start chatting about these though, as always, I want to say hello to a few people who are joining us nice and early on the comment cam. Here we are. Hello comment cam people. Hello Tyler, Avinav, Ashton, Norfolk. Hello Andrew. Hello to Manoj. Hi to Kurt. Hello to Mason and Nikki and Angel or Angel. So awesome to have so many of you here. Questions about these new units from our friends at Pioneer DJ. Questions about the CDJ-3000s, please. We have 2 of them here set up. I can answer any questions that you have about these units. All you got to do is ask. I'm here to help, and I've spent a few days playing with them, so I certainly know what they're all about. So let's get started talking about the new CDJ-3000s, and I've got 7 things, not 5 because I've added to them, that I want to tell you about. So number 1 is very, very simple. There ain't no CD slot. These are pretty much the same as XDJs insofar as you can't play CDs on them. So don't think that, they haven't been scared to innovate there. They really have. They've taken the CDs off. There's no optical drive, as they like to call them, in the front of these things, which is a big thing for some people. For me, using bits of plastic to burn music to put into something like this when you can use a USB drive is craziness. But I know for some people, that's going to mean an awful lot of ripping in order to use these. And of course, that would have been based on market research, which would have said that people don't want that anymore. So CDJ by name only. So what do you think the C should stand for if not CD? Controller? Don't know. You tell us. Tell us underneath there in the comments. By the way, I've got an awesome bit of news for you, which I can't wait till the end to tell you. We've got James Hype to do a special exclusive demo live stream on these. It starts in 3 hours, 2 hours, I think, from now. I'm going to double check that and I'll let you know before the end of the show. It starts in, I'm pretty sure it's 2 hours from now. In fact, it is 7 p.m. London, 2 p.m. Eastern. So join us on our YouTube channel for James Hype, putting these through his pace, putting these through their paces then. And James does like to batter away at his cue points, right? So it'll be interesting to see what he makes of them when he's playing them on that special live stream. So join us for that. Right, okay. So number 1, they don't play CDs. Number 2, the screens are awesome. It's really hard to do justice to the screens by showing them to you on the kind of low-res live stream here. They're 9 inches. They're 1280 by 720. And just to give you a comparison, the SC6000s from Denon DJ are 10 inch and they're 1280 by 800. So they're basically more or less the same size and more or less the same resolution. But they're very, very smooth. I don't know if you can see the smoothness of that scrolling there. But they're really smooth scrolling screens. Now, they don't have glass on the top. It's still the hard plastic that Pioneers always use. They don't have multi-gesture. I think those 2 things are a conscious choice. I think they could have had those if they wanted. This is obviously lasted the test of time because they don't have any problems with this stuff. That's not to say they're not multi-touch. Look at this. Parallel waveforms, folks. See that? Parallel waveforms going on there. Yes, you can now have parallel waveforms and you can see what's going on the other deck. So it's not to say they're not multi-touch. If I go over to the track collection here, I can browse through this like I could on a phone, but they don't have pinch and zoom. So on this, you can't do this. You got to do it here. But the screens are wonderful. I can't overstate, having used these for a few days, how much fun it is to DJ with a nice screen. When I got these out of the box, I'm not going to lie to you, I was pretty underwhelmed. I took one look and said, they've moved the cues and put a bigger screen on it. Is that really it? Is that 5 years worth of work? Actually DJing on them for a few reasons. One thing that isn't one of these 7 is the jog wheels. The jog wheels are nicer. They're just nicer, even though they're the same size, shape, look, feel. They're just nicer. They've got less wobble in them. They're smooth. They don't make as much noise. The jogs are pretty awesome compared to even the last ones, and no one was really complaining about the jogs. Let's remember. I've turned my opinion around. They are really, really nice to DJ on. You're going to enjoy DJing on these in a club. And more to the point, as soon as you DJ on these, I promise you, you're never going to want to go back to the CDJ-3000s. That promise I make you. So, number 1, no CD slot. Number 2, the screens are awesome. Number 3, the key sync on these is game changing, and I mean that. So to start with, they've got key sync. There's a button now for syncing the key right here underneath the beat sync and the master button. You can sync the key on the currently playing track by banging that. I don't know why that's not coming on actually. It would certainly be my fault, not the fault of the CDJ. But you can now sync key by hitting that button. So why is it game changing? Well, key sync is not very good. Key sync never works very well because on all other implementations anywhere, it doesn't think, I'm moving this track 7 notes up or down, or 8 notes or 5 notes. Is it actually going to sound any good? Because the answer to that question is always no. It just does it dumbly, and your track sounds ridiculous. Pioneer DJ doesn't do that. I'm going to cut a long story very, very short here. 5 years ago, in our How to Master Key Mixing course, we figured out that the way you're taught to do key with the Camelot wheel in DJing is wrong. You don't need to worry about the letters, the A or the B. You know Camelot, most of you will know, it's a number from 1 to 12 and an A or a B. You don't need to worry about the A or the B, just the numbers. You can mix up or down a number and forget the letter. That means that there's actually 6 tracks because you can go diagonally across the wheel segments that you can mix into in key, and it's almost certainly going to sound fine. And not 4. Now, that's truth. No one teaches it that way. We do in our course. No one else does. I've never seen anyone else do it. We've stuck by our guns on that because it's true. Even Camelot, even Mixed in Key themselves don't teach it that way, but it's true. So, if that's true, what that means is if you move 1 or 2 notes up or 1 or 2 notes down on any track, because there's 6 keys available, that's going to mean that you can mix any track into any other track harmonically and it will work. So in other words, when you hit the key sync button on these units, it will never move your track more than 2 semitones. So there's quite a big chance it will sound good and it will be in key with the other track. It's simple. It's been staring us in the face for half a decade. Pioneer DJ has had the balls to put it on and it's game changing. The key sync is game changing on these. Now there's also key shift. So you can play a track, just get back to the beginning of this track here and play it. So I can now alter the key on here. Up and down like this as well. And it sounds really good, within the parameters that you move any track more than a couple of notes away from where it should be, it's not going to sound brilliant, but creatively you can mess around with that and stuff as well. So that, that wasn't even on the old ones, it's on the new ones. It's genuinely game changing. We love it. So number 4, the new hot cues. These are really dividing people. Instead of putting them down here, they've put them up here. So they're really good. I like them. Now they're a hard plastic button. Again, this is going to be a decision by Pioneer DJ. You can see these are lighting up green. The reason they're lighting up green is they're a hot cue. If I'm in a loop at the point where I press hot cue, they light up in orange. You see that one's orange? And so you can hold hot cues and save loops on these as well. So although they're not switchable performance pads with kind of loads of functions on, they do have those 2 functions on them. I actually really like them there. People are saying, oh, I don't want to have to worry about going up here where there's all other buttons around and stuff that I might touch by mistake. I actually quite like them. The proof of the pudding here, and they're a lot better than 4 little ones down the side, right? I think we can all agree that. The proof in the pudding here is going to be watching James Hype in a couple of hours' time when he does our exclusive live stream on these things and see what he makes of them, see whether he struggles, see whether he seems to be enjoying the new position. I've spoken to him about it and it seems like he's liking it. But the reason they're not down here is that down here hasn't changed in 20 years on Pioneer CDJs. It's where DJs quite often like to rest their hand to just nudge tracks like this. And if you look at some of the really worn out old CDJs from clubs, they're worn out here and here, literally from just being touched for years like that. So they didn't want to put them there. It's interesting also that Denon DJ's players have them down here, but you can turn them off in the preferences. So presumably some DJs said, I don't want them there. I'm going to touch them when I'm DJing like this. Anyway, like it or hate it, and they are dividing people, the hot cues are now here. Again, it's a little bit of a bold move, that. Now, I've got to tell you, they feel just like using previous CDJs. A lot of people have said they're really underwhelming. Why haven't they added loads of awesome new features? Why haven't they really innovated? They haven't done any of that. It's all about continuity and evolution. They feel just like using the old ones. Look, the jog wheel looks and feels the same, even though it is better the more you use it, the more you realize it. Got a nice screen in the middle it didn't have before. This stuff is all in the same place. This stuff is all in the same place, although it does have beat jump now, which is cool. This stuff, all in the same place. This, all in the same place. This, same. This, same. You know, the changes are very gradual. And if you look back over CDJs, that's what they've always done. These are going to be switched in and out in venues with setups that might have old ones in there as well. They've got to feel the same when you're DJing with an old one and a new one. To some people, that's disappointing. To Pioneer DJ, that's important, and that's why they're like that. So people were expecting a lot of innovation visibly. It is there if you look, you know, as I explained a few things already, but they're very much evolution, not revolution. And it's a decision that's been made with, you know, thought rather than just, oh, let's just bung any old thing out and people will take it. Just to let you know that. So the point number 6, I just said there's not much change here. You can't see the biggest change in these units because the biggest change in these units is inside them. They have MPUs, they've got computers inside. And that is an absolute crucial thing to understand about these. The reason that's a crucial thing to understand is that this is a blank canvas now. In just the same way that Denon DJ with its SC5000s and SC6000s has been adding features. Remember, when they launched, they didn't have streaming services. They didn't have Wi-Fi. They didn't have Cloud Locker. All these, they didn't have elastic beat gridding. All these things have been added and lots of more things because they can, because they're computers. They just send a firmware upgrade for the computer. These are now exactly the same. It's potentially very, very easy for Pioneer DJ to add things to these. I would be flabbergasted if they don't add Cloud Locker, streaming services, on-board analysis of tracks. Look, these are things that they're only a computer programmer's development time away from being added to these. I think the reason they haven't been added to these now could be that they wanted to get them out there. Could also be they didn't want to rock the boat too much. They want to introduce things gradually. It could just be that they're not quite ready. You know, they've been programming it. It wasn't ready on time. They wanted to make sure it was ready before they got it into the units. But whatever it is, it's going to be easy. If they've got the will to do this, and it's not something they've traditionally done, but if they've got the willpower and the R&D development money to do it, they can easily upgrade these things. As I say, I'll be very surprised if those things don't arrive over the coming months and years into these units. So they are, to an extent, future-proofed, and they're all about potential. They are a little bit, oh, is that it? Now, that's the truth. But they've got the potential built into them, and that's probably the biggest thing. They've now got MPUs inside. And number 7, they're not for you. These things are not made for you or me. These are made for pro touring DJs. These are made for clubs and festivals and installations and hire companies. They're simply not made for the likes of you and me. They cost a lot of money, but they're going to last a long time. They are innovating slowly so they don't alienate the people who've got the ones from before and the clubs that have got the ones from before. And that can be boring for the likes of us. You look at the Denon DJ gear, which is a lot cheaper and has got a lot more innovation in it. It hasn't got the baggage of having to make sure that this is going to work for pro DJs, clubs, festivals, and installations and hire companies. These have. They're not intended for the likes of us. Really, the most exciting thing about this for the likes of you and me is that I will guarantee to you that the next time Pioneer DJ releases a all-in-one unit, like an XDJ XZ2 or an RX3 or something, it's going to have an awesome screen like one of these right in the middle. It's going to be silky smooth to DJ with, and it's going to have all the functions we just talked about that are coming for these. In other words, this is trickle-down technology, and it is coming to the likes of you and me in the next standalone controllers that will cost $1,500 or something for the complete unit. These are not intended for the likes of us. They're just not. So that's it was going to be 5, but now it was 7 talking points about these. I know you guys and girls have got a lot to talk about here, and I can see all the comments flying in over there. So we're going to go over there and spend the next 20 minutes talking to you about this. The only thing I do want to do before we do that is just to let you know about the James Hype live stream. So you can basically go here, djtips.co/hype, and you can set a reminder. It's going to be live in 1 hour and 40 minutes on Digital DJ Tips. So wherever you're watching us now, whether you're watching us on Twitch or YouTube or either of our Facebook pages, we're not on Mixcloud now because one of our team took it off the Restream account. I didn't realize. So I'll put Mixcloud back on there. Sorry, people who have come over to somewhere else because we weren't on Mixcloud today. Wherever you are, you're going to have to head over to either YouTube, which is what this link is for, or we're going to attempt to do it on Facebook. Yeah, yeah, it's not the 1st of October yet. We might get away with it. So for the first time, we're going to try a music live stream on Facebook. So either place, come and watch Hype putting these through their paces. It's going to be absolutely awesome. We're really pleased to be able to bring you that as our demo of these units on launch day. And also just to let you know, we've got a full written review, we've got a full video review. All that stuff is over, as you would guess, on the digital. Oh, look, there's me over on the Digital DJ Tips website. There's the full write-up of what's new on these units. There's the full written review, and that's what the Hype page looks like when you click through to that link that I've given you there. You can go and register there to join. Right, okay. Now it's all about you guys and girls. Let's talk, people. I'm going to go right to the top of the comments. So if you're just commenting now, it might take me a little while to get to you. Pioneer knows what they're doing, says DJ Mike. For most fanboys, they will gripe or love because of the big screen, etc. The real DJs will know that the digital out and the MPU are huge. Indeed, agree with you totally there. Shannon says, love your Phil, but stop selling Pioneer shit. Why would I sell it? I don't get anything from selling it. I'm telling you what the talking points are, but thank you for that, Shannon. Everything missing will be available in the CDJ-3000 Mark II, says Lennox. The Mark II, the NXS, the NXS Mark II, and so on. Well, to be fair, they haven't released that many over the last 10 years. I think they won't release anything else in this range for a good 4 or 5 years now, is my view. I'm just looking at the comments here. Sorry if the audio was a little bit loud earlier, but anyway, we've stopped that bit now. So I'm not sure what you were commenting on there, Drew. The lovely thing about this is you all talk to each other. So I do have to kind of screen the comments and make sure that, you know, I'm not just jumping in on a conversation because that would be rude. James says, no matter how many people slag these off and say Denon is better, club owners will still buy them and Pioneer will remain the standard. I mean, that's the truth. Pioneer are not competing with Denon here, really. They're competing with themselves. They're competing with, you know, can they make something that club owners will buy to replace the old Pioneer gear? I think they have. I really do. Like I say, they're not for the likes of us. Get angry as much as you want, but they're not aimed at us. They're not trying to get these into the hands of hobbyists. It'll be the DDJ, the XDJ-1000 Mark III or something that's got the big screen and the same technology that's in these that's aimed at us. And you know, Pioneer sells so many of those units because they're well priced and they do a lot. So look forward to that for the likes of, you know, serious hobby DJs and so on. The next thing I want to pull up here is Tofi. Why did they call it CDJ when you can't play CDs? For continuity, I think. Oh, I like this. It's cutting, but I like it. Sean says C equals com. DJ Roger Moss says C equals compact. Berry says, did you find it's easier to accidentally hit the performance pads as they're located in a place that's not normally conducive to pads? No, I find it. I actually think it's probably going to be more likely to accidentally hit them if they were at the bottom. To be honest, no, I think that's fine. Yes, it is 3 hours from now. Sorry, I'm getting confused with the time zones. It's 3 hours from now, 2.5 actually. The James Hype live stream. Anyway, the important thing is head over there, register, and it'll tell you. It's a computer. It doesn't get things wrong like me. It's been a busy day, people. All right, then. So let's move on to some of the questions that have been popping in. Camilo says, when you press the hot cues, you have a chance to touch your platter and pause. Yeah, I don't think you will. I don't think you'll do that by mistake, though. I really don't. You know, just having played with them, I don't think that's going to be an issue. Armand says, do the Q loop call buttons still double or divide set loops? Right, they do actually, but let me show you how that works because it's better on the new ones. And I'll turn the volume down now so you can hear me talking when I'm showing you. All right then, so let's get a track playing on here. So I'm hoping you can hear me all right now. Sorry that was too loud earlier. All right then, so let's say we set a loop here. So you can set an 8-beat loop now. Set an 8-beat loop there. That's now running away as an 8-beat loop. So you can use the Q loop and 4 buttons to halve and double that loop size. But you can also use now the 4 and 8-beat loop buttons, which are the ones that they're going to expect people to be using. It's more obvious. Leave the loop and these go back to setting a loop, and once you're in the loop, they halve or double it. So more questions about these. I'm loving all the opinions, thank you for that, but I do want to help people with questions that maybe you haven't found answers to elsewhere. We have got an awful lot of info over on the full review of these. Lots of you just saying, why are they called CDJs when there's no CD drive? Don't wear COVID masks, says Pioneer only caters for pro DJs. Well, that's not true. They've got DJ gear all the way down to stuff like this. But these are definitely aimed at pro DJs. You look at Pioneer's marketing for these. It says pro DJs, clubs and festivals. Is there instant doubles? Yes, there's instant doubles. You get to instant doubles by using, as you always did actually, just by holding down the buttons here. So instant doubles are still on the units. I don't need those hot Q buttons, says Stuart, because my DJ XP1 has the buttons. In fact, it has 16. All the other tricks seem to be on my XP1 too, so I don't need them. Well, there you go. Save yourself a bit of money there. Questions about these units, people? Some people are saying, it's an awful lot of money. You can buy a decent computer for the money. Indeed. Are the screens still 30 frames a second? The best thing I can do, mind you, this broadcast is 25 frames a second, so I can't really show you. I'd say they're probably 60, 50 or 60, because they're very, very smooth. They're smooth like an iPad. When you use DJ software on an iPad, like Algorithms DJ, that's how they look. No, they don't analyze tracks when you put in a USB stick with just MP3s. You've got to do that beforehand on your DJ software, although I'd be amazed if they don't add that down the line. I really wouldn't. I really will. Phil says, I've ordered my set this morning, coming tomorrow. I just can't wait. What am I going to do with my CDJ-3000s, says someone over on our Facebook page? Sell them, I guess. Lots of you saying you think the Denon players just have got more for the money. Well, they're a lot less money, the Denon players. The more I think about it, says Ross, the more I think Pioneer DJ has done a really great job of this for its intended market. We've come round to that way of thinking, and I promise you, when we unboxed them, we were like, come on, guys, surprise us, delight us. But they're really nice to use. I'll tell you one thing I really like about them, which I'd forgotten because it's not new. But I'll tell you one thing I really like about them, that they do better than all DJ software that I know, and that is the track filter. So what track filter does is it gives you a page here, and this page lets you choose all kinds of stuff. Like, I want you to give me tracks against the track on the other deck. So I press master play. Now it's looking at the track on the other deck. I want you to give me tracks that are within 4 BPM of that track, that are in the same key or are in close by keys, that I have given a certain color or I've given a certain tag to. And then when you've done that and you get back out of there, in whatever list you're in, you just press this track filter button, and all these tracks here are in those criteria. In other words, they're close by in BPM, they're in the same or a similar key, and they might have the same energy level, or they might suit another tag. So the tag might say piano or vocal or whatever. So this is awesome. And I'd forgotten, because I don't use CDJs very often, I'd forgotten how lovely this track filter is. Now they've improved it here, but it was always on CDJs. It's a really nice way of finding something that's going to work quickly well with the next track. And if you're not seeing anything you like, one tap of the button, you're back in the full playlist that you were in before. I actually really, really like that. And that's one thing that, we've been DJing on these for 3 or 4 days now before publishing our review, before coming on live to talk to you about them today. I found myself using that all the time and loving it. And I'm going to miss it when I go back to my, my other choice is Serato. In digital DJ tips, we've all got software that we prefer. Steve's Tractor, for instance, and Recordbox. I prefer Serato. I also dabble with Virtual DJ. Between us, we cover them all. So we're completely, non-biased about this stuff. But when I go back to Serato, I'm going to miss that. That's for sure, because I'm not going to, these are going back to Pioneer very soon. I'm going to miss it. So that's something that surprised me. You're not selling it to me. I'm not a salesman, so I'm not worried about that. Woo Killer Beeful says Wi-Fi is hardware, not software. If it's not installed, it won't have Wi-Fi. No, but the Denon DJ units had Wi-Fi and they didn't tell us about it. So there might just be a Wi-Fi chip in there. Most computers come with Wi-Fi sticks, right? Pioneer is making DJing easy, but I've got to say Denon is making it creative. That's the difference. I think that's a very fair point, although there are some creative things on this. But yes, it's a fair point. Eric is kind of reflecting what I'm saying. They're going for evolution rather than revolution in terms of features. It's a traditional problem for a dominant player in an industry. They're playing conservatively so as not to alienate the current user base. How do you feel they fare versus the Prime 2 or 4? Prime 2 and 4 are very different units. You know, you wouldn't buy that or this. So they've got more functions on, but then most DJ gear's got more functions on than CDJs, even the new ones. It's refined, says Giorno. They're perfect to play with. Ross says, my only real disappointment is the hot cue position, but I understand their reasoning. Hopefully the DDJ XP1 and 2 can still work with it, maybe better than before. Dominic Carter said, oh no, Mixmaster G is helping Dominic. Thank you, Mixmaster G. It's good that you're doing that for us. So keep your questions coming in. Why are you vinyl purists here taking smack, says Jamie, because vinyl purists always take smack. How many vinyl purists does it take to change a light bulb? 2. 1 to change the light bulb and 1 to tell you how much better the old light bulb was. So sorry, vinyl purists, I couldn't resist that one. So Johnny says, I humbly submit that a moving 12-inch platter simply feels better and is more fun to play on. Well, if that's you, then great. You've got the Rain 12. Hey, you've got turntables. These, there's no argument there. These things have been 20 years. DJs have been playing on these, which don't move, right? So, you know, there's nothing new there. You know which camp you're in. Go with the gear that's got what you want, right? So Camilo says, I've got a rental company and I really wish that touring DJs learn to play on Denons, but they won't. And Pioneer knows that, right? So that's the thing here. No, they're not dual layer, which means that you can't control 2 music sources with 1 player. Pioneer DJ tells us that would confuse DJs, but they also know, of course, that means that if you want 4 decks, you've got to buy 4 of them. So it's good business as well. In fact, it's double what Jamie says if you want 4 decks. So yes, they are extremely expensive. James says, you've got to ask yourself how many DJs will want the hassle of changing brands, especially as they're used to having just used Pioneer all the time, and the fact that they'll have to import their record box library to Denon's Engine Prime. Now all the clubs, such a long comment, it disappeared before I finished it. Now all the clubs are shut because of Corona. Some might opt for a change, but I don't see that happening easily. I know it's a terrible time to launch anything, isn't it? So Pioneer DJ, I've got to deal with that. So Saint says, great last point about the target audience. I'm looking forward to the trickle-down effect. Sure, us too. I think they will come out with some extremely interesting all-in-one units in the next year to 18 months is my guess. Lots of you not liking the hot cue placements. We have the Rains, says Johnny, but no, we have the CDJ-3000s, but we're going to Rain unless Pioneer does something very similar. Phil, old technology compared to Denon Prime. Ross says, I don't think it's fair to say they're not for me and you. Anyone can have these if they want. You just have to accept the workflow, and it's not all about the bells and whistles. Yeah, you know, Digital DJ Tips is for hobby DJs who have got a full-time job and love DJing and play out a few times a year. That doesn't mean it's not for you if you're a pro DJ or you're a new kid coming through, 15-year-old with lots of ideas, or it doesn't matter, you know, but that's who we appeal to. And that's what I mean about this. You know, yes, of course anyone can have these, but these are for pro DJs, clubs, festivals, installations, and rental companies. That's who they're aimed at. And that's why the feature set is that way. But I totally get what you're saying there, Ross. You know, that's it. Probably a better way of saying it is that's their ideal customer, right? So I'm sure you know where I'm coming from with that. Alex says, I wonder if we'll see a Nexus version of this in a year or so with additional features. Well, they've never done a spinning platter. So I wouldn't hold out for a spinning platter, but yeah, you never know. A few of you are missing the CD slot. Hello to Pri. I'm just saying hello to you, Pri, and you're very welcome. We enjoyed reviewing them. Good to see you on here. Pri is, of course, someone who those of you in our Digital DJ Lab will know very well because he does a lot of awesome mix training over there for us. So hello, Pri. Hector is pleased to try out these bad boys. Dino says, thanks, Phil. Yet again, a proper informative, no bullshit review. Hit the nail on the head that these aren't aimed at the domestic market. I'd love to have a play on them, though, to feel the differences over the Nexus 2. It's durable gear. Unlike the Denon toys, I think that's a little bit unfair on Denon, but you know, one thing Pioneer gear is durable. That's very true. Does the new phase or wave meter work with the older kit? On the older kit, you'll get the bars, the 1, 2, 3, 4 bars, and you'll get the old phase, you know, beat grid thing, but you won't get the waveforms. So you won't get these on the older kit. Let's go back to here. Let's get something playing on the other deck and make the other deck the master. There we go. You won't get these. So you'll get that. You probably can't see that well, but that's the phase meter. You won't get this new one. You'll just get the old 1, 2, 3, 4 little bars that used to go across the top there. Okay, more questions, people. Phil, compared to Denon, guess what? We're going to do a comparison to Denon. We haven't got around to it yet. We've been working very hard on the review this week. But yes, a comparison with the Denon players is coming. It's strange that it's branded CDJ, not XDJ, for continuity, I think. They're the replacement for the CDJs. Pioneer's always had a more superior feel to play on than other brands. Only clowns that DJ on laptops do not get that. I was with you until you said clowns. Why be so divisive, JRJR? You know what I mean? It's overpriced crap, says Donald. Well, at least it's not an attack on other DJs there. More of your questions. Roll on the XDJ-1000 Mark III or the XDJ-2000 for the hobbyist user that this is not intended for. Good point. Let's find some more. Are we expecting an RX3? I don't know. I made that name up, but I've no idea if we're expecting an RX3. Dominic says we now have viable options on both ends, either Denon or Pioneer. Even if one is more technically advanced, why do we not have these options? We need it to be Pioneer and Denon. Denon replacing Technics. So thank you for sharing that. The screen looks similar to the Denons. Indeed, it is extremely similar, although it's not touch multi-gesture. I'm just going to pull out 1 or 2 more. Ross, I think the loops are fine. I'm not really understanding what you're saying, but they're performing fine for us. If we do spot anything, we'll let you know. They do still work with laptops, by the way, all you laptop people. They always have. You can plug laptops in and use the Rekordbox library in a laptop, or use it as a controller. It's also going to be a controller for Serato, so that's coming. It's all going to be about the software updates, says DJ Brooklyn. Yes, it is going to be about the software updates. Dominic says the thing about Pioneer is they have a legacy, they have a history, obviously from being in the market. The new Denon DJ hasn't been given a proper chance due to market dominance. No, and that's their game to try and get that chance. So let's see what happens. You know, competition is good for all of us, right? I don't think any of us are complaining. Instant doubles wasn't a feature before, but it's a great addition, wasn't it? Am I going mad? Let's have a look live. See if I'm a fool. There you go. Instant doubles. Here. It was a feature before. Certainly it was on the 2000s. And it is a feature on the 3000s as well. But you're wondering what other gear we've got down there. We've got everything there. Everything. It's a crazy shelf. All right, 1 or 2 more and then I'm going to disappear. And so I'm looking for stuff which is stuff we haven't talked about. Yes, the loading speed is now really quick. And honestly, they shouldn't shout about that. It was terrible before. Terrible. Now it's really quick to load tracks and hot cues and so on. I mean, come on, guys. I'm glad they've got that right finally, because that was just a pain. It was a real pain before. They've sold out already, apparently, says Will. So there we go. So Blue Monday Beats says, Phil, a very stupid question. I wanted to sign up for your live streaming course. Would you cover how to record sets if you don't want to actually live stream and pre-record and post my sets? Yeah, you'll work out how to do that from the course. You will. Our live streaming course disappears tonight, by the way, for those of you who've been maybe thinking about it. So if you're interested in that, jump on it now. Gemma says they look great. Looking forward to trying them out in clubs when they finally open. Great review, thank you. We have got a full review of these, by the way, for those of you that are wanting to actually, see everything about them. It's over on the website. It's a very, very long review. And we've also got the full video review as well, which again is very, very long. It runs to about an hour. So if you want to watch me going through every single feature in detail live on these units, head over to our YouTube channel and you can watch that there. So yawn. That's all I'm going to say there. Fader start? No idea, David. I don't think so. I don't think so. I didn't see it mentioned anywhere, but I don't think so. But I don't know for sure. And one or two more. Nice bit of hardware, says Jason. Sort and filtering is wickedly fast with the new MPU. Thank you for that, Agi Pro DJ. It is. It's awesome. And I found myself addicted to it. I absolutely loved it. Pioneer is the equivalent of Canon, says Ian, in the photographic imaging industry, and that's not a bad thing. And Jason's just loving us. Thank you for that, Jason. Is there a way to search for a specific track by name? Yes, and there always was. Let me show you that. Really simple. You hit the search button here. There's a special search button here now. Hit the search button at the top here. And then, there we go. Tap at the top there and you get this keyboard. I already had something to say. So if I want to search something by Calvin Harris, I'll start typing Calvin, and then I've got my 3 tracks in this collection there by Calvin Harris have come up. By the way, you probably can't see this very well. There's a second column now. So at the moment we've got the track name. I can tap here and I can add artist. I've now got track name and artist, and I can make the font size smaller so I can see more from there. It's really, you know, you can get an awful lot of information on this screen now that you couldn't get on before. 12 tracks here, again, track name and artist, BPM and key, and the waveform. You can preview waveforms by touching them, by the way, and they'll play through your headphones if you press the Q button on a Pioneer mixer, which is really nice. You can also jump ahead on the track you're playing. So if I'm playing a track down here, and we're here in the track, let's say we're here in the track, I can, in my headphones, just by touching this, here, listen to that. I just turn that down. You hear that? That's further on in the track than what the audience would be hearing. And that means that you can listen to, say, another DJ's record. You've taken over on the decks, another DJ's last track, you can listen on and find a place to mix out from. Or if you just play music you don't know very well, or you want to remember what the drop's like or whatever, it's really cool. I like that feature. Again, that's a new feature. It didn't make R7, but it is a cool new feature. That seems like a huge ventilation grill at the back, don't you think? Lots of dust getting in. Let's have a look at the back of the unit. There is a ventilation grill at the back. I wonder if the old ones had a ventilation grill. No, they didn't. Good point. I'd be flabbergasted, I'm using that word a lot today, if that hasn't got some kind of filter to stop dust getting in. But yeah, good point. One more then. Come on, one more question. Thank you very much, everyone, for taking part in this. It's lovely to get these questions. And most people have been your usual, brilliant, polite, constructive self. Just the usual, oh, look at me, you know, not helpful people. You always get one or two, but not many. And that's what I love about you, crowd. You're the best, Digital DJ Tips crew. So I'm looking for a really good one to end on. I'll do 2 more. AC, I've got to say I'm impressed with what Pioneer has come out with. What are the odds that they will work with Traktor and Serato? These are going to work on Serato. They've already said that. Traktor, I'm not sure, but hold on for that. I think Traktor has got its own issues going on at the moment. Is it much lighter without the CDs? No, they weigh 5.5 kilos. They're still pretty heavy going. Hi to my friends at Extender Mix. I can never let go, can I? I just want to share with as many people as I can, get as many things on as I can before I go, but I do have to go. Good or bad review, thanks for all you do, says G-Man Spins. You're welcome. And one more then, this really is the last one. I want to make it a great one. Sean says it should always be acknowledged that laptop DJs have had the power these things now provide, and Traktor has always had these features. Laptop and software DJing has been years ahead of all media players for a long time, and us DJs who can buy the gear we want from the brands we want and use the software we want have always known that. You're 100% right there. And right now, hardware is finally catching up, and that's a nice way to end, because I'll tell you the truth, DJing on these for a few days made me realize I wasn't missing the computer and I wasn't missing anything about the software. And that's the first time I can say that about a Pioneer DJ media player. And the reason is they're very fast. The filter search is absolutely brilliant. The screens are wonderful to use, and it just feels right. Yes, they're far too expensive for most people, But this is going to trickle down into a standalone unit that is going to be kick-ass within the next year from Pioneer, which will cost $1,500 or $2,000, and it will have all those features that are on those and probably more as well. It's coming, and it's a day closer today with the launch of the CDJ-3000. That's where I'm going to leave it. That's our 7 points about the Pioneer CDJ-3000s that stuck out and I wanted to share with you. Remember, James Hype is live here. You can head over to that link and it will take you to a page on our YouTube with a countdown to James Hype going live in just 2 hours time from now. So if you want to head over there and set a reminder for yourself, James will be putting these through their paces for us, and that's going to be live not only on YouTube but on our Facebook group and page as well. So come and join us for that in a couple of hours time. But meanwhile, from the Digital DJ Tips studio, again with apologies for the music being a bit loud earlier so you couldn't hear what the hell I was saying. It happens. It's time for me to say get good, get out there, make the moments, and this has been our look at the CDJ 3000s. I'll see you again very soon.